This video was brought to you by Nebula. Over the last few weeks, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has become a rather coveted figure. With Europe's parliamentary parties preparing to face off in this week's elections, Meloni has found herself at the heart of a growing charm offensive from both the centre-right and far-right blocs, who are each vying for her support. In the centre, Ursula von der Leyen wants Meloni's Brothers of Italy party to join her European People's Party, EPP, to help her secure a second term as EU Commission President, while the far-right Marine Le Pen also wants Meloni to join the Identity and Democracy Group, or ID, to strengthen its influence. So in this video, we're going to take a look at what's happening on Europe's right wing, why everyone wants Meloni, and who's most likely to win her over. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay in the loop and be notified when we release new videos. But first, let's start with some context. The European Parliament, whose 720 MEPs will be elected later this week, has quite a complex structure, consisting of different political groups or factions. Now, these can be either a single European political party, like the European People's Party, or groups which include more than one European party, as well as national parties from EU member states and independent MEPs. Now, MEPs are incentivized to organize into groups for a variety of reasons. Not only is there a political advantage to working together with like-minded colleagues, but groups also have some formal privileges within the parliament, including a staff allocation and financial subsidies. Now, currently, there are 7 groups in the chamber. From left to right, these are the Left, the Green European Free Alliance, the Socialists and Democrats, Renew Europe, the European People's Party, the European Conservatives and Reformists, and Identity and Democracy. Now, most MEPs belong to a group, but about 60 MEPs are currently non-inscrits, i.e. not members of a party. Now, the groups we're concerned with in this video are those on the political right. So, the European People's Party, which Ursula von der Leyen belongs to, the European Conservatives and Reformists, which Meloni currently belongs to, and the Identity and Democracy Group, which Marine Le Pen belongs to. Now, all 3 of these groups are predicted to increase their number of MEPs at the coming election. But at the moment, the centre-right EPP is the largest party in the EU Parliament, with 176 seats, and then predicted to win another 5 in June, bringing its total to 181. Similarly, the ECR is predicted to win 74 seats, 5 more than it currently has, with the far-right ID group also projected to win 66 seats, 17 more than it currently has. Now, all of these parliamentary groupings are important for a couple of reasons. Firstly, the biggest group in the chamber generally supplies its Spitzencandidate, or top candidate, to lead the European Commission, the executive body that proposes new EU laws, giving that group more political leverage. Secondly, the EU Commission President also has to be endorsed by the Parliament with an absolute majority. So the more MEPs the group has, the stronger its ability to approve or block any candidate. So why has this rightward shift made Meloni so popular, especially with Ursula von der Leyen and Marine Le Pen? Well, let's start with von der Leyen. Essentially, von der Leyen wants Meloni and the ECR to back her bid for a second term as the EU Commission President. Last time around, von der Leyen crafted a parliamentary majority with 2 groups to her left in the European Parliament, the Socialists and Democrats and Macron's Renew group. However, both of these groups are due to lose seats in the coming election, and while the 3 combined are projected to win a majority, it's expected that von der Leyen will still struggle to get a majority backing because, like last time round, there will be rebel MEPs within the 3 groups who do not back her for various reasons. As such, von der Leyen has started looking to the groups on her right, Meloni's ECR. Over the last few months, von der Leyen has tacked towards Meloni on various policy issues, including most notably migration, and recently described Meloni as clearly pro-European, against Putin, and pro-rule of law, adding that, quote, "If this holds, then we offer to work together." Ironically though, von der Leyen might actually have sabotaged her chances by banking on Meloni, because both the Socialists and Democrats and Renew have threatened to block von der Leyen's nomination if she seeks a deal with the ECR. So this could mean that even if the EPP and part of the ECR join together, von der Leyen might not have the majority approval needed for the presidency. But she's not Meloni's only suitor. The other is Marine Le Pen. Last week, after kicking out Germany's AfD party, Le Pen asked Meloni to, quote, unite her ECR bloc with ID to create a right-wing supergroup that would likely become the second biggest in the EU Parliament after the EPP, which would give them significant opportunity to influence EU policy in areas like immigration, security, defence, and the Green Deal. Unfortunately for Le Pen, though, Meloni's response was lukewarm. Both because a Meloni-Le Pen supergroup would probably be too right-wing for Meloni's other suitor, von der Leyen, but also because this far-right supergroup wouldn't be that ideologically cohesive, given the intense divisions between them on issues like Ukraine and EU membership. For example, while some ID members like Le Pen's RN and Italy's La Liga have softened their Euroscepticism and tempered their friendliness towards Russia in the last few years, ID's Austrian member, the far-right pro-Russian Freedom Party, has centered its campaign heavily on anti-EU sentiment, using the slogan, Stop EU Madness, with an image of von der Leyen kissing Ukrainian President Zelensky. So again, if Meloni and Le Pen were to form a far-right superbloc, it's unlikely that their members would vote coherently anyway. So with only a few days to go until things kick off, who is Meloni most likely to choose? Von der Leyen or Le Pen? Now, we obviously can't say for sure until we know the results of the election. Meloni has strategically avoided stating her preferences thus far, saying, my main objective is to build an alternative majority to the one that has governed in recent years, a centre-right majority. Essentially, Meloni is probably quite likely to benefit from either outcome though. Her domestic popularity remains high, and the very fact that she has both centre-right and far-right EU politicians pursuing her speaks to her growing continental influence too. Meloni has already managed to extract some big wins from her friendship with von der Leyen, such as concessions for farmers during the anti-EU green transition protests, and EU immigration deals with African nations. And she'd be well placed to get more if she decided to take the Brothers of Italy into the EPP, and if von der Leyen were to win a second presidential term. Equally, while the far-right parties do seem quite incoherent in terms of ideology, it's possible that Meloni could exercise outsized influence in the superbloc, given her warm relations with leaders even as tangential as Viktor Orban, whose Fidesz party currently doesn't belong to a faction at all. Ultimately, though, it's fair to say that Meloni has been one of the EU's most desirable figures over the past few months, and it's looking like this election really is hers to win. That's not the end of the story though, and if you want to continue more, then you should check out Nebula News. Nebula News is our joint venture with Nebula, where the TLDR team curates a selection of videos that matter most in the world right now. No more feeling out of touch or not knowing what to say at events. On Nebula News, we guide you through the news that matters most using videos from a huge variety of creators, helping you to find stories and better avoid burning out. It's not just curated news content brought to you by us though. Nebula also features loads of exclusive original content. That's things like Real Life Law's brand new series War Room, which every month runs you through a whole load of ongoing conflicts to keep you in the loop. You can also watch every TLDR video on Nebula ad-free and in many instances before they land on YouTube. Now, if you're already subscribed to Nebula, then you can check out the new Nebula News section at nebula.tv/news. And be sure to bookmark it or save that link so you can use it as your TLDR-ified news homepage. If you're not a member already, then you can click the link in the description to sign up now. And if you do, you'll get 40% off an annual plan by using that link. That's less than £2 a month. Plus, Nebula will know that you came from us, which really helps us out.